Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's March 19th, 2021, the last day of winter. Tomorrow's the first day of spring. Yippee. So our agenda for today, we'll start out with some success stories. I know of one landing so far. Hopefully we've got more here on the line today. Then we'll have everybody put their 30-second introductions into the chat box. Then we'll go to our committee reports, hear about workshop, job fairs, pit crew, practice interview success workshop. We'll hear from our career tip of the week. And then we will have our speaker, our main event coming up around 10 o'clock. For those people on Zoom, if your full name is not in the chat, in the participant box, if I can't see your full name, it makes it hard for me to guess who's online when I update the roster. So if you would, hover over the little microphone camera button, and up should come more. And when more pops up, it should say rename. And please rename yourself. And then don't forget underneath it, just click remember my name for future meetings. That way you won't have to do that again. For those people on Zoom, if you have questions, please just put them right in the chat box. And for those people watching on Facebook right now, good morning. Please enter your questions in the comment field. I'm monitoring that feed, and I'll be sure to get those questions answered as our speaker takes a break. For those on Zoom, if you're using a PC or Mac, we ask that you use the speaker view, which is in the lower left-hand corner. That way you'll see the PowerPoint slide and you'll see the speaker talking. That would be really helpful. And where you see that red line at, you can grab that white line, that little where the red arrow is. If you grab the white line, you can pull it back and forth and change the aspect ratio of the speaker and the PowerPoint slides you're watching right now. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comment, name, and picture to possibly appear. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior person who was leading the group got a job and said, who wanted to take over? And I think I scratched my face. He said, okay, Jeff, you're it. In 2008, I started careerdfw.org, a website to help those in unemployment in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're trying to put everything in one place for people. In 2012, after being invited to go to the White House, I launched careerusa.org because I found out that there really wasn't anybody else in the United States doing anything like Career DFW. So I thought, well, let's help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It's available on Amazon for 15 bucks, but for those living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you want to drive by the house, I'll trade you a $10 bill for a book. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about that in just a couple of minutes. Well, we like to start the meeting off with success stories. I know of one landing so far. Jeff Huggins landed this week. Just a quick note to let you know that I've landed a job with a former employer and started this week. Is Jeff with us? No. I will try to keep in touch with each of you in the groups as time permits. I plan, he's starting the East Texas Job Search Network. And so if you live out in East Texas, it may be a group you want to start to help his neighbors out in East Texas. He benefited greatly. I benefited greatly from your kindness, knowledge, help, and support. Thank you very much. So Jeff is our 37th landing so far this month, or this year. So it's 37. So congratulations to Jeff. And so, yeah, he went back to work for his former employer in a different role, but you know, you never know. So you never want to burn bridges because you never know what may be the right place for you. Do we have any other landings? Please unmute your mic and let us know. Going once, going twice. No more landings. Okay. Well, it's time for everybody to, if you will, please open up the chat box. And in the chat box or in the comment field on Facebook, please put your name, comma, phone number, comma, email address, comma, position you're looking for, comma, a couple target companies, and then hit the return key. That way everything will pop in all together. I will copy all this information and I will put it out in my Friday afternoon email to everybody. And hopefully you can go help somebody else with a lead that they're doing. So if everybody will go through and do that, for those people on Facebook, I will go delete your personal information right after the meeting. So don't worry, you won't stay out there forever and ever. As soon as the meeting's over, I will go delete your personal information on Facebook. So let's go 30 seconds on the clock. All right, y'all can keep going while you can keep putting information in. That really appreciate it. That'll be great. Let's see what we have next. So it's time for job, career fairs, training, and workshops happening. Good morning, Eldon.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to springtime. As Jeff said, my name is Eldon Zarinsky, and I focus on providing you information about career and job fairs and special workshops or events. The information that I provide can be found on the website careerdfw.org on the calendar tab, and there it is up in front of you right there. There are many categories under the calendar listing, and career and job fairs and special workshops are just two among many. All right, having said that, I go through these fairly quickly. If you do hear something that interests you, I urge you to go to the calendar, find the item, click on it, and you will get more information, and usually a link that'll tell you more about it or allow you to register for the event. All right, this week's career and job fairs. Well, unfortunately, we don't have anything scheduled for this week, but we do have another version of the United Electronic Recycling event. That will be held at Christ United Methodist Church, which is at 3101 Coit Road in Plano, and that'll be Saturday, March 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And they are accepting paper shredding at this event. It's $10 per banker's box. So if I've got my big box, so I will be there in the morning to drop off stuff.
Oh, so they are doing the shredding this week, right?
Paper shredding is always the third week at Christ United Methodist Church, CUMC.
All right. I'll say a few words briefly about the Internet of Things Special Interest Group Breakfast, which is currently going on. They hold that the third Friday of every month. So if you're interested in the Internet of Things, you might want to keep your eye out for their announcements. This group is headed by Ed Hightower. And there's a lot going on in this area about the Internet of Things and what's going on to support it. So if you're interested in that topic, I urge you to find out more. Online Networking Mondays. Join Career DFW and CareerUSA.org each Monday from 1 to 2:15 p.m. Central for Networking Mondays. The Who You Know Career Transition Summit will be held Tuesday, March 23rd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. There's a link online to register for that. This event is hosted by Foster Williams. And if you don't know Foster Williams, I urge you to get to know Foster Williams. Online Tuesdays online at 1 p.m. This is a rotating seminar that features Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vondermutter each week for an online session about how to use LinkedIn. There's a Zoom link, and there's also a Facebook link on that. And again, that's Tuesday, March 23rd from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Online Interviewing Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Join Mark McDonald, who's the leader of our pit crew, and Walt Glass, who runs the Interview Success Shop, for their 13-part workshop on interviewing, and the guest lecture series is getting ready to start in April. This week's session 12, difficult interviewers and questions and cultivating confidence. I urge you to participate in that. Again, that's Wednesday, March 24th from 1 p.m. to 2:30. And finally, online Resumes Thursdays, online sessions with Carol Brickell, certified professional career coach. That'll be Thursday, March 25th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. There are Zoom links and Facebook links for that, and I urge you to attend. And that's it for this week.
Eldon, thank you very, very much. All right, if you happen to know somebody who's just lost their job, I saw in the papers yesterday, I guess for today, that 770,000 more people applied for first-time unemployment benefits in this past week. So if you know somebody who just lost their job, number one, tell them about Career DFW and Career USA, but also tell them that there's a great resource right there on the very front page. I just lost my job. What do I do now? And I've got a great handout with all sorts of an article with all sorts of handouts and information for somebody. So please let them know, share the word, pass the word around to other people. Time to hear about the practice interview team. Good morning, Mark.
All right, good morning, everybody. And I was asleep at the wheel here because I do have a couple of landings that I don't think have been announced. So let me just do that real quick. Bob Bacon landed with Xpo Logistics as their Director of Technology Compliance Support. That's a long title. So he practiced on December 18th for this position. And so it took from now until then to finalize it. I think he actually started a couple of weeks ago, but we just heard about it this week. And then also Suzanne Anderson, I don't know if that's been announced. She's landed with Specialized Security Services located in Plano as an executive assistant. And it's not to the CEO, but I'm not sure exactly which C level it is, but she's landed, very happy, and starts on the 15th. So she started on the 15th this week. So 2 more to add to the list.
Mark, who landed at XPO?
Who landed at XPO is Bob Bacon, Robert Bacon.
Oh, okay, XPO. Thank you.
Yeah. If you need his contact information, I can provide that to you. Email. All right, so let's hear about the Dallas Pit Crew. It's been a slow week, I gotta say, and I think it's because of spring break. I hope it's not because the economy's slowing down, but I always get worried. But you know, being slow means there's opportunity for you to come and practice and get right in right away. And you may not realize it, but you need to practice. Everyone who comes to the Pit Crew benefits. Go to Walt's class. He'll talk about his workshop next. These are all volunteer or free, resources for you to help improve your skills in interviewing, and then, which leads directly to a shorter job search, which puts more money in your pocket. So the Who You Know guys have now started talking about the value of job placement, and I think that's a good way to think about it. And so you need to think about how many months you want to be out of work, and if you could take 1 or 2 or 3 months off that job search time, how much value that would bring to you, and then that may motivate you to come and practice or go to a Walt's workshop, which don't cost you anything. So the Pit Crew, in order to give you a practice interview, we need to get a resume and a job description from you. So the Pit Crew interviews are very personalized, customized, focused on what you're going after. If you're changing careers, you can practice for multiple different careers. If you're changing industries, you can practice, your accounting skills on different industries. You can come and do all those things. We're happy to have you, and we'll give you feedback on how well you did. And you can, if you can keep practicing until you feel very confident that you can handle the questions and the interviewers. And then we want you to start focus on building rapport with the interviewers. So send that information in to the DallasPitCrew@gmail.com, the email address there. And I'm going to post that up in the chat window. You should have just got it. Let's try it again. There we go. There's the Pit Crew contact information. If you got a question, you can send me an email or give me a call on that number that's there. And then I encourage you to link in with me when you get a chance. And you do that by searching the Pit Crew in LinkedIn, or you can search my name there. Use that middle initial, and it's also in the chat window of my LinkedIn profile. Just send me a brief note that says, I saw you on North Dallas Career Focus Group, and that's good enough for me. I'll add you to my network. It's growing a little bit every day. It's mostly people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I guess that's it for now. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Mark. You want to talk about what's coming up Wednesday?
Oh yeah, what's coming up on Wednesday? So when we used to meet face to face, we always had an education session at the end of the meeting. And so now we're doing difficult interviewers and difficult interview questions next week in our weekly seminar, Walt and I. And we'll also talk about cultivating confidence, how to approach your interviews with confidence.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you very much. Good morning, Walt.
Well, good morning, everyone. We've been talking about interviewing for a few minutes. Let me talk about it for another minute or so. So I offer a free interview success workshop, and it's designed to help you learn how to differentiate yourself from other candidates, and then to gain those skills and confidence for successful hiring interviews. So most people will work hours and hours and hours on their resume, but don't put nearly the same amount of time into practicing and getting prepared for their interview. It's where the rubber meets the road. And so through the pit crew and through the interview success workshop, we offer you opportunities to practice with no penalty. Now, the workshop is very different than the mock interview with the participants who have a team interview, because we don't do a mock interview. We do what I call the learning interview. We need to learn how to sell ourselves. Everyone says, yeah, we need to sell ourselves, but what is that? What do you really need to do to prepare for an interview? What are those things? How can I do my opening? How should I close? Almost no one closes the sale in an interview, which is critical. So how do we do those things? So I like to set up a learning environment. We do it online. You get a video of yourself. Now, when I started out, I was going to charge $20 for the videos, and nobody wanted to see their videos. So I said, all right, let me pay you $20 to see your video. Well, I didn't think I had enough money to do that in my retirement income. So now I offer you a free video, which is pretty good. I remember one person, after looking at his video, and this is back when we were meeting face to face in the pit crew, and he said, I watched myself on Walt's video doing interviews. I wouldn't hire that guy, not for anything in the world. So, yeah, when we start out, it's not going to be the ace of spades. It's not just going to be the best we can do. But we got to start somewhere, and that's how we build that confidence, by doing these practicing sessions so that we can gain those skills. And so I offer that. So we like to have some fun while we're going through this learning process. There's no need to sit on a hot seat. So it's really a learning time. So to differentiate yourself from those other candidates and to sell the three-legged stool of I am, I do, I help. That's what people are buying. Your character, your personality, your soft skills, your background, your experience, your education, and the value that you bring to that position and to that company. So be glad to have you register. You just look at my LinkedIn about section. You can get the information there, but send me an email at my Yahoo address that's on the screen now, and I'll be glad to send you some availability dates so that you can register and participate. So I'd love to see you come and join. We can have some learning without squirming.
Do we have a poem today?
Give me a minute.
Okay, we'll come back after the tip of the week. Okay.
All right.
All right. Good morning, Karen. It's time for the Career DFW Career USA Tip of the Week.
Good morning. Today's tip: 6 career coaches share the best career advice they ever got. When it comes to evaluating career advice, few people are in a position to hear so much of it and evaluate how it works out for the practitioners than career coaches. Tip number 1 comes from Angelina Darasoff, founder and CEO of C-Suite Coach. Let them tell you no. Too often, fear, imposter syndrome, and other challenges lead us to talk ourselves out of opportunities before we even have a shot at them. A better way is to let them tell you no. Getting a yes to every promotion or raise is not likely, but a no is certain if we don't pursue it at all. Instead, embrace the risk it takes to pursue your goals or take a shot at something new. Even if it doesn't work out, you could get yourself noticed and open doors for future opportunities that may be a better fit. Asking for things we feel unqualified or unprepared for is understandably risky and scary, but if we tell ourselves no, we will never get to hear a yes. Second comes from Jackie Mitchell, an executive career coach. You're human, act like it. Your coworkers will relate to you and respect you more when you don't hold your personality back. Sometimes we're so buttoned up and professional that we forget to have personality in our interactions with others. Being vulnerable also nixes perfectionism, which undermines so many in the workplace. Once, when Mitchell had to facilitate a tense meeting about project funding and budgets, her nerves took over. So she said, "Sorry, but this is an intimidating topic, especially when we're over budget and I need to ask you for more funding." This broke the ice when one of the executives said, "Don't worry, we're all nervous." And they were all a bit more relaxed after that. And yes, she got the additional funding. Being human on the job can make us more relatable, approachable, and successful. Third is from Kay White, career coach and author of The A to Z of Being Understood. Make your voice heard and your conversations count. Be a good leaver. Sometimes a role or manager creates a situation that's untenable, and it's time to move on. As tempting as it may be to set the bridge ablaze as you go out the door, it's almost never a good idea. The person you throw under the bus today could be driving it tomorrow. Sometimes paths cross more often than you think. Suddenly, as if by a cruel twist of fate, a person is working for the exact same person or team they thought they'd left behind. Or that boss you wanted to leave behind leaves too, then joins your new firm as your new boss again. Leaving on good terms may also leave the door open in case your new job isn't what you expected and you end up wanting to return to your former employer at some point. Fourth, from Kathy Caprino, your next steps are up to you. After a brutal layoff left her crushed and shattered, a simple question from her therapist changed Caprino's life. He said, "I know this looks like the worst crisis you've ever faced in your adult life, but from where I sit, it's the first moment you can choose who you want to be. Now, who do you want to be?" That pivotal moment set Caprino on the path to becoming a career and leadership coach and author of The Most Powerful You, 7 Bravery-Boosting Paths to Career Bliss. While she had no idea what else she could do professionally, she realized she wanted a career that would allow her to help others. That reminded her that she could choose her next steps. Along with her therapist's encouragement and suggestions, it unlocked a new world of possibility. Fifth, from career coach Mark Anthony Dyson, host of Voice of Job Seekers podcast. Never stop interviewing. Years ago, Dyson scoffed at his former boss's advice. She said that no matter how satisfied she was with her job, she always interviewed with another company at least once a year because those conversations kept her in touch with the skills she should be developing. The process also kept up her own interview skills in case she needed them. Later, Dyson realized how relevant that advice was, especially in a turbulent job market. It is hard to know how industries will fare through remote work and an unexpected economic downturn from year to year. The practice of job interviewing helps you remain instantaneously marketable in any economy, even if you're not on the market. Sixth and last is from Nadia Ibrahim Taney, a career coach at the University of Cincinnati's College of Business. Believe in your own self-worth. She felt very unsure of herself and her job skills early in her career. Her career coach's advice was simple but life-changing. In the job search journey, if you don't believe you are hireable, you likely won't be hired. Each week, her coach asked her, "Why should someone hire you?" She had to give one new reason every meeting, and over time, she practiced believing she could be hired, which led her to be confident enough to advocate for herself in hiring situations and thus successfully landed a job. If you don't believe what you're selling, especially when it's yourself, it's going to be hard to convince others to be interested. And by strengthening her belief in herself and practicing through role play, informational interviewing, and formal interviews, She became a more confident professional, which led to promotions and peer recognition. Thank you very much.
Sharon, thank you very, very much. That's the Career Tip of the Week. You can find that on Career DFW and the Career USA websites. All right, Walt, you got a poem for us?
Yeah, I figured out one. You know, a lot of us wake up each day in this job search world, and we look at it as a chore, a burden, hard work that it's not all that much fun. But you know, we have a choice. And so today, are you tired of redeployment? Are you looking for some enjoyment? I don't want to be rude. Have a positive attitude. It's the shorter path to employment.
I just have to get our applause in every week. Very, very important. All right, Walt, thank you very much. All right, so coming up in just a couple minutes, we'll hear from our speaker, Jane Ryan, talking about communicating your self-worth. Your emotional intelligence matters. Upcoming next Friday, we'll be doing effective networking. This is Jay Frasero. Many of you have heard Jay in the past, or some of you have heard Jay in the past. An excellent speaker. He's got a great book. He's got a book out that there's not anything in that book that I disagree with when it comes to networking. So he'll be our speaker next Friday. On the first Friday of April, as we do every first Friday of April, as we do every Friday, first Friday, we'll do open forum. That is Good Friday. So some of you may or may not be with us, but we will have a meeting that day, and we'll answer whatever job search questions you have. And then on the 9th, negotiations, how to negotiate, what you can negotiate about. So that will be our topic on the 9th of April. It's hard to believe April's already here, almost. All right, so it's time for our main event here. Let me introduce our speaker. Let me move a couple of things around here so I can see everything. So Jane is the founder and president of Jane Ryan and Associates, an emotional intelligence, leadership transformation, and life career transformation coaching firm. She is certified international executive. She's a certified international executive coach and expert in transformational learning, leadership development, and career transitions, with specializing in helping her clients strengthen their emotional intelligence. She applies her extensive studies in psychology, emotional intelligence, and her coaching methodology to help her clients achieve optimal transformational career and life goals. Coach Jane is also a published author, expert speaker, and presenter. More importantly, she is a servant leader who's passionate about helping others find their passion and becoming successful at achieving their goals and dreams in life and career. So Jane, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here and to be able to talk about how we can communicate our value in this new world that we live in, where everything is pretty much virtual right now, right? And pretty soon we might have a little bit of actually FaceTime and being with each other. And but for the most part, we have to learn how to communicate our value, I say virtually, online, when we're not able to actually be there in person with that individual or audience. And so it's not about technology and how to use Zoom. It is, oops, I didn't go there, I'm sorry.
There we go. No, that was somebody else. So no, you're good. It was somebody else who had their mic unmuted.
Because I will attempt to share my screen, but for some reason I am missing something here. Let me see what I got going on. I don't know why, Walt, but let's see here. You can't see my screen or anything, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And I will figure it out. I had it up. I just had my PowerPoint up. So now I got to figure out how to get it back up. I apologize. My screen just decided not to cooperate. So I got to get back into my Zoom. For some reason, I'm not showing the bar to share.
It should be at the very bottom of the screen, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Or,
That's
why don't
normally.
you press Alt? Press the Alt key. Sometimes that'll do it. Just by pressing Alt once, it makes it pop up.
I have a Mac. Does that make any difference?
Oh, sorry. I don't know, Max.
Let me see. Let me see what I can do here. I may need, hopefully I don't have to sign out to come back in.
Well, if nothing else, I can always run it for you. I have a, since you sent me a copy.
Can you share it?
Yep, just one
Yeah.
second. Let
For some
me,
reason, it's not, I'm having a problem pulling it up. I mean, it's up, but I can't get to share it.
You can roll over with your cursor and that bar will show up by just moving your cursor to the bottom or top.
Yeah, I am, but I think I must have done something here.
you just mute it yourself.
There, I'm back. Is it easy for you to share?
Yep, I've got it here just a second. I'm about to load it.
Then I won't have to mess up, but I can. So anyways, my talk isn't about how to use Zoom, because there's a lot of good information out there right now about how you can use Zoom, how to set up your home office, all that kind of good stuff, how to communicate virtually through different types of telecommunication, which is critical because now we're doing online practice interviewing, like with Mark. With Pit Crew, we're having this session right here where we're having to communicate and talk with each other and share. And what I want to talk to you about is more about you, because how we present ourselves, how we communicate online or in person is really about who we are and our self-beliefs. How well do we believe in ourselves? Do we really believe everything that we're really capable of becoming? Where's our self-worth? Because everything, how we feel about ourselves is reflected in how we communicate. It's others see us, hear us, and they can tell, am I nervous? Am I engaged? Am I excited about this opportunity? How well I can communicate who I am. And that begins with, who am I, right? We have to have that. We have to kind of step back and take a deep breath and understand who we really are. And I guess I need to, yeah. So just a little quickly about communicating. How do we communicate our self-worth, who we are? What do I feel I'm worth? It starts there. And what are our self-beliefs? And it really kind of all gets back to our emotional intelligence, which many of you that know me, I'm very passionate about helping others really understand what that is, because it's a skill that we all have that we can sharpen. And by doing that, we become more in tune with ourselves, more in tune with others. We're more aware of how we're being perceived, how we communicating so that we are perceived in a positive way, all those good things. And actually living more, less stressful lives, living happier lives, all that takes place with your emotional intelligence. So it's, but I'm not going to dive into all the ins and outs of EQ. I'm happy to talk about that with anyone, afterwards, through LinkedIn. There's a whole bunch of information I can share there. But we can go to the next slide, Jeff. So to begin with, I just would like everybody to do a little exercise with me. And it requires you to trust me and just close your eyes. And I'd like to do some deep breath, just some very relaxing deep breaths with you. So if you don't mind, just taking a moment here, uncross your legs, uncross your arms, get comfortable, and take a few deep cleansing breaths. So in to the count of 3, hold it, and then exhale. And inhale through your nose deeply. Try to listen to your heartbeat, to your breath. Release any tension. And one more inhale. And as you exhale, keep your eyes closed if you will. Begin to breathe normally with your eyes closed. And I want you to just think about all the experiences in your life, all of the things that you've done, what you're really good at. What are you really passionate about doing? Think about all those things. Your experiences, your expertise, and what you're passionate about. And then write it down on a piece of paper or on a note somewhere, if you can. Just jot down just your brain, your initial thoughts. And then I'd like you to just kind of set that aside and open your eyes. We can go to the next slide, Jeff, please. And where do we begin? So beginning with our understanding our self-worth. Who are you, right? Who am I? What are those experiences and expertise that I share, that I've learned along the way, that I bring to that next employer? And what's really important is don't forget the piece that you're really passionate about. You know, what are you passionate about? What is it that drives you? What is it that you do in your career and life? But, you know, right now we're focusing on how to communicate our values so that we can get that next awesome job, so we can keep that awesome job, so that we can be successful in our lives and careers. And so take time to really understand what that is. And have you been doing that in the past? Have you been doing what you really love to do in the past? Or is there something you would rather do now going forward that you haven't done? That's fine too. It's a perfect time to think about doing something new, exploring new ideas. But you have to think about, how can I leverage everything I've become, all my experiences and expertise, now combined with what I really want to do? What is that? And how do I leverage all that and communicate that in a way that that hiring manager, that executive who's, you know, interviewing you, that, you know, recruiter, that they feel and understand, they feel you and they understand, wow, I could see how, you know, Lily could bring this to our organization, right? How Tom really has the passion around and doing this job. He's never done it. However, a lot of the stuff he's done are the same skills that would be needed. That's how we have to communicate. And it's not always easy, but if we're passionate about it, that's where we communicate our value. So, Jeff, I'm sorry, next slide. So opportunities for a fresh new start, whether that's continuing in the same type of industry, the same job that you've done before, that you love to do and are comfortable doing in this new world, right? The other thing you want to ask yourself, if I want to keep doing what I've done because I love doing it, how has it changed because of COVID? How has it changed? Excuse me. How has it changed since I've last been delivering that type of competency and skill to an employer? We have to make sure that we're current. We have to make sure that we can take, again, everything we've done in the past and bring it, you know, in today's world. So it's time to explore and understand your gifts, understand your passion and purpose. And next slide, Jeff. So an exercise that you can, we already did this one actually, but there, there, opportunities. I just put this slide in here because it gives you some ideas. You want to think about what are all the hot industries. I'm sure you've heard some speakers talk about the hot industries, thinking about, you know, anything environmental is hot. Solar, wind, energy, those types of things. They're hiring like crazy in that area. Climate, along those lines. Healthcare, of course, right? It's just there's a great demand, and there always will be, for professionals, clinical and non-clinical, in the healthcare world. Technology in itself, right, is the whole cyber area is very hot. Security, That's really growing. Logistics and delivery, right? The Amazons, the trucking industries, the anything, the Instacart, all those. And then also anything really online related. So online training, if you're an organizational development person, if you're anyone that does any type of maybe technical training, anything like that, that's hot. Food services as well. So I just leave those with you because I want you to think about, as you look at that next great job, what industry might be good for you that you'd be excited about, but also one that's hiring, right? So, and next slide there, whoops, go the other way, Jeff. There you go, keep there. So again, I like to put in quotes and whatnot. I failed the, how to design a PowerPoint 101 with only few words and only graphics, but that's because I want you to take, when I'm done, I want you to be able to look at the slides and remember what was behind the pretty pictures, right? So I put more content into my slides so that you have that information handy. Once we begin to look at what is possible, our lives begin to spin unimaginably, right? Unimaginably. There's so much that we can really do and that will surface if we allow ourselves to explore. And so that gets into who we are. Next slide, Jeff. What we refer to in psychology is self-efficacy. It's really your belief in yourself. What do you believe that you're fully capable of doing? What do I believe about what I'm really capable of doing? And is it big enough? Am I really pushing my comfort zone? Am I really being honest, authentic with myself about what I'm really fully capable of doing? And if you think about your past career and those experiences and your expertise, think about those times where, your manager, your superior would tell you about, wow, you always go above and beyond, or you nailed that, you hit it out of the park. Those what I call rock star moments where everything was working and you felt great about what you were doing. You pushed yourself, right? It's that understanding of who you are. And next slide. So believing you can is where you begin. Believing in yourself. What are you fully capable of becoming? Do you believe you can? Do you really believe that you can achieve everything that you were really, that God gave you that purpose to do? Are you really living it? Thinking about it? And are you self-disciplined and focused enough to really bring those hopes and dreams, goals into reality? Those are things you want to reflect on. Next slide, Jeff. Self-actualization is when you actually believe everything that you're fully capable of doing, and you're motivated and you're like, yes, carpe diem, right? Seize the day. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to push myself because I am worth it. I am confident in my abilities and I can achieve this. This, whatever this is, I refer to as kind of your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. We have to shoot high. If we don't shoot for the moon, then how are we going to even get close to landing on a star? If we just try to shoot for, the star, how are we ever going to be more than we ever could be? So shoot high. You may surprise yourself and meet it. You may exceed it, or you may just land on a star right below it. But how will you know unless you really push yourself? Next slide. So believing you will. Believing you can, and then believing you will, and being fully self-aware, which is an emotional intelligence competency, to be fully self-aware of who you are and how you're going to achieve your life goals, and how confident are you in actually achieving those goals, and are you being authentic with yourself? And next slide, please. So how do you do that? I've been kind of sharing some things about how to look deep, reflect. It's about becoming that very best version of yourself. understanding that things don't happen overnight. Life is a journey, your career is a journey, but it's a journey that we want to get on and to drive that journey. We want to drive through that journey. It's like going on a trip. If you're going cross country, you just want to explore and experience everything along the way and enjoy it, not just try to race through and get to the other end, which is great. We want to get to the other end, but we want to enjoy the journey and learn as we're going, learn about ourselves. So we have to really understand our passion. Next slide. And so understanding our passion and what we're passionate about and what we're fully capable of doing. And now we got, okay, we got a goal, we have a vision, we're determined, right? We're disciplined, we're focused. Now we want to make sure as well that what we're going after is an opportunity that we can thrive within, not just survive. There are bridge jobs, right? We have to survive. Sometimes we have to just get a job and get some money so that we can survive. That's survival. But we want to thrive. We want to thrive in this next career chapter in our book. And so keeping that in mind as well. And next slide. Communicating your self-worth is about how you communicate your experiences, your expertise, and your passion. You take those three things and you repackage them. How do I repackage them so that that next employer says, wow, I have to have Steve, right? He's got what I want. He's got what we need here. And employers today are, as you know, going through many, many changes and transformations as well. Every organization is looking at how do we conduct business going forward? What do we need to do differently? Now, hopefully they're not only thinking that, but they're putting a plan together and they're convicted and disciplined to actually do what's necessary to make the changes in their organization that are needed, right? So they're going through something similar. They're more open to hearing from, you know, Karen about what she's passionate about and what she brings to the table. They're more open. They have to be more innovative, truly diverse, truly equitable, right? The whole diversity, equity, inclusion is a huge, I would say partially a challenge for many organizations and leadership. So they need people that can help them do that and drive that effectively, measurably. But also those organizations that really embrace that are going to lead. They're the ones that are going to survive and really start to move into the future aggressively. So you want to think about how you're going to repackage all the uniqueness of you, your value, into the future. And next slide. Being able to communicate your self-worth, also it involves discipline, right? We have to like, when you leave this session today, this online workshop, you know, take time to reflect on what we talked about here. Take time to think about what you're really capable of doing and what you want to do. Your emotional intelligence does play a critical role because it helps us not only understand ourselves and others, but it also helps us have that self-discipline, that focus that we need, the opportunity to block out disruptive thoughts, right? We want to block out all the negative thoughts, all the thoughts about, oh, I can't do that, or, oh, I don't think I could really ever do what I'm too old. I'm all the negative things. I don't have the degree. I don't have this. No negative. You got to be able to pull it into positive because you are unique. You do have a purpose. You bring something very valuable. You just have to understand what it is and feel passionate about it. Because when you're passionate about it, it comes out, right? You feel it. Who you're talking to feels your passion. If you're just kind of ho-hum when you're communicating your value or you're trying to communicate your value, how do you put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? That's a big EQ competency right there. And empathy, right? How am I coming across? What is that person feeling? Am I making them feel how I feel about how important this job would be to me and why I would really be able to be an asset to that organization? as if it were my own. Next slide. So I already really have been stressing about the emotional intelligence and how important it is that it's, you know, your ability to really recognize and understand your emotions of what you're feeling, how your emotions impact your career, your behaviors, how what you're feeling impacts your performance, your ability to communicate, and impacts others. Again, that's all around your self-awareness. And it really has to do as well to how you can build relationships, how quickly you can build rapport with whom you're talking to at any given time, anyone, how you can align yourself and build rapport. And a lot of that requires blocking out the noise in your head and focusing and being in the moment to actively listen to, say, the person interviewing you. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Don't worry about, oh, you know, wait a minute, I didn't answer that first question right. Get in the moment with that interviewer. Be in the moment with them and listen and pause and think. You stop, breathe, think before you let anything come out of your mouth to make sure what you're communicating is going to be received in the most positive way. That's your emotional intelligence. Next slide. So pulling it all together, it really takes the self-awareness, self-control, empathy, the ability to understand your audience, who you're talking to, put yourself in someone else's shoes. As Stephen Covey said, think first to understand, then to be understood, right? That's that actively listening to understand, then to be understood is that ability to really just stop, breathe, and think and say, how do I communicate the best answer? How do I communicate in the best way to engage with this individual? Interviewing is about, it really is a conversation that you're having with someone. It's not an interrogation, it's a conversation. And if you think about it that way, that can immediately help you maybe not be as nervous or take the edge off, but it also can help you really communicate what's important to them, but also to you. Taking action. That's the other emotional intelligence competency here. It's one thing to understand who you are and know what you want to do, but you got to do it. You have to build the plan. You have to say, if I'm here today and this is where I want to be short-term, long-term, then how am I going to get there? What are those milestones? What are those things I must do that are going to help me close that gap and achieve that goal? How are you going to achieve it? And be determined to achieve it. And communicating your self-worth is really communicating how well you know yourself and how confident you are in your ability to really deliver upon who you are, to be the very best possible version of yourself, which your passion and energy is what's going to help you get there. And there's one more slide, just a quote. I love to include quotes here, but there's a huge world out there, right? It's a new world. It's a new opportunity for every single one of us, everyone, with a job, without a job. And the world's just waiting, right? It's waiting for you. And I think there's a couple more slides, Jeff, but they're just kind of like be the change. And I think those are, I think I also included towards the end, I want to open up for questions, discussion, but I wanted to be able to, I shared with you some assessments that you could take at the very end. They're free online, but they're helpful in helping you really understand who you are, what your strengths are, and not just Strengths Gallup, which is a great tool, but your personality and more about doing that self-reflection. And so, any questions? That discussion, any takeaways? Was this helpful to you?
If you have any comments, please just go ahead and unmute your mic and you're welcome just to ask away.
Yes, this was totally helpful for me. It helps me understand myself better.
Good, good, good. Nice to meet you, Chandra.
Nice to meet you.
It's it's a crazy world out there, and it can consume us. It can just be really, what do we do? It can be very alone, feeling alone. But it really is important to take this time to really think about who you are and what you bring and what you love to do, and then figuring out how to, and just building that plan to do it. We all have to start somewhere. It may change. You may have to, pivot and change a little bit, tweak it along the way. But when we build that plan, and if we're disciplined and focused in doing that, and we're staying positive, we're staying grateful every day, we're blocking out any disruptive negative thoughts, that it's so powerful, right? So
Yeah, it is.
So if we have a plan to work, and sometimes we have to force ourselves to be grateful for the good, grateful for the bad, right? And be self-aware that we are thinking something negative, so that we can block it out and be grateful, so that we can go forward. That's what's going to give us that momentum that we need to really achieve everything that we're fully capable of.
Thank you for that. And I'm also reading books I'm reading a book by Jenny Allen called Get Out of Your Head.
Oh, good. How do you like it?
It's the best book. I recommend it. Everybody get it. It's by Jenny Allen. It's called Get Out of Your Head.
That would be good to put in the chat, right, Jeff?
Yes, please do.
All right, I will.
Thank you.
Good
Anybody-
morning, Jane. It's Julie Paxton.
Hi, Julie.
I wanted to let everyone know that so Jane was my first career coach, and she's very wonderful at this EQ stuff. But I set out on my own after working with her for a few weeks, and recently started revisiting EQ, which is one of the reasons why I joined today. And I found a website a couple weeks ago called 6seconds.org.
Yeah, awesome.
And I'll put it in the chat. But it allows me to find little snippets here and there that can help me work on the areas that I'm weak on. The one that I'm weak on is actually how much I let things that go on change my reactions to things, like make it visible, my reactions to things. So that is what I know I need control over. And I've gotten better at it, but certainly, there's no harm in continuing to work on it, and 6seconds.org allows me to do that.
Thanks, Julie, for bringing that up, and thank you for your kind words. I'm excited for you as well.
Okay.
Very excited. Yes, Josh Friedman was the person that started the 6 seconds, and it's a great source, like Julie was saying. And he's always coming out. You could follow him on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as just going to their website. But they have a lot of really, really good information.
Great.
Thank you.
Other questions, please just unmute your mic and let us hear from you. I will send out this PowerPoint presentation this afternoon. I'll put it out in my email, so you'll have all the links and everything, especially the career assessment links at the very last page, so you can take any of those that you'd like to take.
And anyone that hasn't joined me already on LinkedIn, feel free. I would love for you to join my network. Stay in touch with me. Feel free to ask me questions in private that way. That's probably the best way to ask me questions and get in touch with me.
Right. Any other questions for Jane? Going once, going twice? Well, Jane, thank you very, very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Great information, and especially I look forward to taking all those self-assessment tests at the end, because I don't know, you just never get enough information about maybe who you are and how you represent yourself. So
yes, and Julie said, it's always something you should continually address, learn. Emotional intelligence is a skill, remember, and a skill has to be honed. It's something that we have to continually use and be aware of and strengthen, so, because we're human, right? So just remember that we're always able to learn and grow, and no matter how old we get.
Right, right.
So thank you,
Well,
everyone. Stay safe. and
Jane,
stay in
thank you.
touch.
Jane, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All right, so next Friday, our speaker will be Jay Fracero, who'll be talking about effective networking. Always a fascinating speaker, and this is his book, From the Other Side of the Desk. I don't like the cover, but everything between the covers is spot on. It's perfect. It's great information. So if you ever want to buy a good book on networking and the job search, I think this is a great book to purchase. If you have not put your 30-second introductions into the chat box or into the Facebook comment field, please do so. Name, phone, email address, position you're looking for, a couple target companies, then hit the return key. I will make sure I get all this information combined, and I will put it out this afternoon along with a copy of all these slides, along with a PDF of the slides that Jane talked about today. We're putting on training 5 days a week now. So, please join Career DFW and Career USA every week. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, Women of Wisdom. So if you're a woman and you have wisdom, they meet on the first and third Fridays of the month. This is the third Friday of the month. It is by invitation only. So you do need, if you're interested in going, you do need to send an invitation to WOW, W-O-W, at careerdfw.org and get invited for the group, because they're not looking for 60 or 80 people to join the group. Once the group gets a maximum number, they want to sort of limit it at that. Next Monday, talking more about networking where, hows, and whys. Our special guest speaker is Foster Williams. For our networking Mondays, we've got 12 or 14 or 16 different speakers lined up. So everybody's going to talk about networking, but they're all going to talk about it from a little bit different angles. Join us next Monday at 1 o'clock. Next Tuesday, Kurt Vondermatter, who's a retained search recruiter, will be talking about LinkedIn from a recruiter's eye. He pays $10,000, $12,000 a year to LinkedIn every year so that he can use the package from the back end, so he can find you, and he'll show us that package and show us what you need to do to make it easy for him to find you. As we talked about earlier, next Wednesday, Interviewing Wednesdays, session 12 of 13, difficult interviews, difficult questions, and cultivating confidence. And then next Thursday, our effective resume session, we'll have resume tips and tricks, and you'll have an opportunity to win a unlimited use of jobscan.co for a 1-month period for the month of April. So join us next Thursday. This session has been recorded. It'll be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate the likes and the subscriptions if you can. The Career USA YouTube channel looks something like this. Click on playlist if that's not what comes up first. And then don't click on the videos, but click down where you see the red arrow and where it says view full playlist. And then what will come up is a list of all the events. And you can scroll down, you can find the topic that you're interested in. So you can go back and watch about canva.com. You can go back and watch about Google Voice numbers, how to be a better brand. I mean, whatever you're interested in doing, you're welcome to search back down and you can see other episodes from our Friday meeting. Most of the speakers start about 30 minutes into the video. So thank you very much for joining us today. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you one day next week. Thanks for being with us.